Hello, good morning. Good morning, all of you. So look at some of the typical problem. It's a old problem, May 2015 problem, but typical unique problem. This kind of problem has not been repeated again. Only one time this problem is tested relating to banking companies. Okay. Bank R was established in 2005 and doing banking in India. The bank is facing do or die situation. There are problems of gross NPA, non-performing assets, at 40% of CAR, capital asset ratio, or capital adequacy ratio, or capital risk weight assets ratio at 4%. The net worth of the bank is not good. Shares are not traded regularly. Last week it was traded at rupees 8 per share. RBI audit suggested that bank has either to liquidate or to merge with another bank. Bank P is professionally managed bank with low with low gross NPA of 5%. It has net NPA as 0% and capital to risk asset ratio at 16%. Its share is quoted in the market at rupees 128 per share. The board of directors of Bank P has submitted a proposal to RBI for takeover of Bank R on the basis of share exchange ratio. The balance sheet details of both the banks are as follows. Bank R, Bank P. Paid up share capital, reserves and surplus, deposits, other liabilities, total liabilities. Cash in hand and with RBI. Balance with other banks, investments, advances, other assets, and the total assets. Okay, right. Next, these are the points. It was decided to issue shares at book value of Bank P to the shareholders of Bank R. All assets and liabilities are to be taken over at book value. For the swap ratio, weights assigned to different parameters are as follows. Gross NPA, CAR, market price, book value. What is the swap ratio based on above weights? How many shares are to be issued? Prepare balance sheet after merger. Calculate CAR and gross NPA percentage of Bank P after merger. Okay. So we need to calculate first the swap ratio. So different parameters has been given. Different parameters has been given to calculate the swap ratio and weights has been given. We have to calculate the swap ratio by giving weights to this person. So first we have to copy these things, gross NPA, etc. Okay. So gross NPA, capital to risk assets ratio, market price, and book value. Okay, these are the points. So first will take the values of Bank P and Bank R. Bank P and Bank R. Bank R is first thing. Bank R, Bank P. Bank R, Bank P. Okay, Bank R and Bank P. What is the gross NPA of Bank R? So look at the information and just substitute it. Okay, look at the information and just substitute it. There are problems of gross NPA at 40% of CAR. So it is 40% of CAR, capital to risk, and 40% NPA. It is 40% NPA. Next to capital to risk assets ratio of 4%. Capital to risk assets ratio of 4%. Next to market price is only 8 rupees. Book value. What is the book value? We need to calculate the book value separately. We need to calculate the book value separately. Okay, right. Look at this. So Bank P, Bank R, Bank P, Bank R. First we have to take equity share capital. First we have to take the capital, paid up share capital, paid up share capital, paid up share capital, paid up share capital. How much is the paid up share capital? This is 140 and this is 500. Paid up share capital 140 and 500 rupees in lakhs. Rupees in lakhs. We should be clear about the presentation. Rupees in lakhs. What we are calculating is rupees in lakhs. Okay, paid up share capital. Next point is reserves and surplus. Next point is reserves and surplus. Reserves and surplus. Reserves and surplus. Okay, how much is the reserves? 70 and 5,500. 70 and 5,500. Okay, right. So this is called as total net worth. This is called as net worth. This is called as a net worth. Okay, amount belonging to equity shareholders is called net worth. Amount belonging to equity shareholders is called net worth. Okay, net worth is 6,000. Net worth is 6,000. Next, face value of each share. Face value of each share. Face value of face value per share. Face value of share. Okay, what is the face value of the share? In both the cases, 10-10. In both the cases, 10-10. Okay, so this is what the face value of share. So first, now we have to calculate the number of shares. Net worth, this is A. Net worth, this is A. Okay, next, total paid up share capital. Total paid up share capital same 140, and paid up share capital will take 140 and 5,000. Next, face value of each share, face value of per share. Okay, face value per share. What is the face value per share? In both the cases it is 10 and 10. In both the cases it is 10 and 10. Okay, in both the cases it is 10 and 10. So therefore it will give, it gives you number of shares. It gives you number of shares. Number of shares. Number of shares. It is in rupees lakhs. It is a number lakhs, not rupees ma. This 14 is 14 lakhs number of shares. 14 lakhs number of shares, not rupees. 14 lakhs number of shares. Okay, right. This is what the point. So number of shares is B. Number of shares is B. Okay, number of shares is B. So book value per share. Book value per share is equal to net worth divided by number of shares. Book value per share is equal to net worth divided by number of shares. This is net worth divided by number of shares, 15 rupees. Okay, this is 120 rupees. This is 120 rupees. Okay, this is another working note. So another working note. Okay, so this is, you can say, working note 1. You can call it as a working note. You can call it as a working note 1. Working note 1, computation of book value per share. Working note 1, computation of book value per share. Working note 1, book value. Book value. Okay, book value. Working note 1, book value. So this is book value. This is rupees, not lakhs, just rupees. Book value per share. Book value per share. This is just rupees, not lakhs, not numbers, just rupees. That's it. Okay, this is just rupees, not lakhs, not numbers, just rupees. Book value per share, 15 rupees and 120 rupees. Just we have to substitute it here. 15 rupees and 120 rupees. 15 rupees and 120 rupees. This is the book value per share. Okay, you can just take the answer. Okay. Particulars. Okay. Okay, this is the point. So net worth, number of shares to book value per share. Net worth divided by number of shares is equal to book value per share. Always look at the balance sheet. The amount pertaining to the shareholders. The amount pertaining to the shareholders is called net worth. The amount pertaining to the shareholders is called net worth. Okay. The amount pertaining to the shareholders is called net worth. Okay, the amount pertaining to shareholders is called net worth. Right? The amount pertaining to shareholders is called net worth. Okay, ma? The amount pertaining to shareholders. This is called net worth. This portion is called net worth. What happened? Okay, this is called net worth. Ma. Amount belonging to equity shareholders. This is called net worth. Amount belonging to equity shareholders is called net worth. Other than outside liabilities. Other than outside liabilities. Take out the total liabilities side of the balance sheet. Take out the total liabilities out of the balance sheet. Out of that, other liabilities remove. Whatever those pertains to the equity shareholders, it is called as a net worth. Net worth is total, book values per share. Net worth is total, book values per share. Therefore, net worth divided by number of shares is equal to book value per share. Okay, this is done. Next, we have to fill up the other details of bank P. Other details of bank P. Okay, look at the bank P. Bank P is professionally managed bank with low gross NPA of 5%. With low gross NPA of 5%. Low gross NPA of 5%. Next, capital to risk assets ratio of 16%. Capital to risk assets ratio of 16%. Next, market price is 120 rupees. Okay. Now, ratios we have to take 40 divided by 5. 40 divided by 5. So, similarly, Right, most important point here, calculations are very important. Look at this. So here what I took is 12.5. When I'm getting 12.5, what I took is that bank R divided by bank P. Bank R divided by bank P. Okay. Now here, when I take capital to risk assets ratio, I have taken E4 divided by F4. Look at this. So bank P divided by bank R. This is very careful. Bank P divided by bank R. So all these three are. So that means numerator you have to take it as a this thing. So out of these, this is a positive sign. NPA is a negative sign. Higher the NP, if the NPA is higher, means value of the company is lower. NPA is higher means value of the company is lower. So CAR is higher or market price per share higher and book value per share higher. This means value of the company is also higher. That means for these three things, they are directly related to book value. They are directly related to book value. Most important point in this problem. They are directly related to book value. If these three parameters are high, we have to assume that it is a good sign. But whereas if gross NPA is higher, it is a negative sign. If gross NPA is higher, it is a negative sign. Okay. So therefore, if you look at this point here, how I got 25%, bank R divided by bank P. Here also bank R divided by bank P. Here also bank R divided by bank P. But the first point is different, reverse. Bank P divided by bank R. That is the important point we need to observe. Out of this problem, this is the area where the student should avoid making a mistake. Why, sir, it is reverse? The reason is that so bank R is NPV is inversely related. A more NPV means less value. Therefore, we have to reverse the position. Normally, if you look at this concept, so exchange ratio, we say for example, exchange ratio, I'll call it as a 1:4. What is meant by exchange ratio 1:4? One share in amalgamated company, that is bank P, for a number of shares in amalgamating company. This is amalgamating company. Okay. This is amalgamating company. This is bank R. So that is the exchange ratio. Assume 1:4 exchange ratio means one share in the amalgamated company for 4 shares in amalgamating company. That means 1:4 is equal to 1/4. 1:4 is equal to 1/4. Okay. 1:4 is equal to 1/4. So that means numerator we have to take the amalgamated company. Denominator we have to take the amalgamating company. Numerator we have to take the amalgamated company. Look at this. So 5 divided by 40. Numerator I have to take the amalgamated company P company, and denominator I have to take amalgamating company. Okay. Right. This is the important point. All these are one way and this is one way. Okay. So let's just take common sense. So this is positive side. Higher the CAR, better it is. But here the CAR is less. Therefore, it should be less than 1. But that means only a fraction you have to get, because your capital is less. Therefore, you have to get only fraction of the shares. Here your market price is less. Therefore, you have to get only fraction of that. Here, if your book value is less, therefore here also we should get less than 1. That is the important point. But here, if you apply 40 divided by 5, what happens is it comes to more than 1, 800%. That means you are getting more shares for having more losses. That is what the point is. NPA is nothing but bad debts. A company which is having more bad debts cannot be supposed to take more shares. It is supposed to take less shares. Do you understand? NPA means bad debts. If I do whatever I applied the formula for these three, if I apply here also, it implies that bank R is getting more shares from bank P for having more bad debts in bank R. It is logically deficient, logically correct. Bank R is having more bad debts. Therefore, it should get less price, not more price. Okay, here capital is less. Therefore, number of shares are less. Market price is less. Number of shares are less. Book value is less. Therefore, number of shares are less. But here, NPA is more. Number of shares is more. That is a blunder. Do you understand? Here, capital asset ratio is less. Therefore, I'm getting less number of shares. Market price is less. I'm getting less number of shares. Okay, book value is less. I'm getting less number of shares. Sir, why you are calling it as a less number of shares? This is percentage. 25%, 6%, 12.5%. That means less than 100%. Less than 100%. Yes or no? Less than 100%. Only a fraction of shares. Only a fraction of shares. This is less than 100%. Okay, but here I should not get 800%. More than one. That is wrong. That is wrong. It is nothing but rewarding bad debts. That is not correct. You cannot reward a company which has more bad debts. You have to punish the company. Therefore, it is the reverse. It is the reverse. That is the important point. So these three are directly related to market value. If they are having low means obviously you should get less number of shares. You should get less number of shares. So these are directly related to value of the company. If these three parameters are directly related to that company. So any company which is having low of these values, they should get less number of shares. But whereas this is inversely related to the company. Okay, this is directly related to value of the company. Okay, these are directly related to value of the company. These are directly related to value of the company. These are directly related to value of the company. This is inversely related to value of the company. This one is inversely related. Okay, this one is inversely related. Okay, this one is inversely related. Therefore, you have to apply the reverse formula. We have to apply the reverse formula for that. Okay, that is the important point, right? So be careful about that. Be careful about that point. Right. I'll give an example for that. Okay, I'll give an example for that. First, we'll take capital to risk assets ratio, capital to capital adequacy ratio. Capital adequacy ratio is directly related to the value of the firm. Okay, capital adequacy ratio, capital adequacy ratio is directly related to the value of the company. Is directly related to the value of the company. A company which is having a high CAR will get more shares, and similarly a company which is having a less CAR will get less shares, So this is what the point. A company which is having less CAR will get a less shares. Okay, in the given case, bank R is having a less CAR. Bank R is having less CAR. Therefore, it should get less number of shares. It should get a less number of shares. Less number of shares in bank P. Less number of shares in bank P. Okay, less number of shares in bank P. That is the important point. So therefore, less number of shares. It has to get less number of shares. Okay, bank R. That is to say 4 divided by 16%. 4 divided by 16% is 4 divided by 16%. 4 divided by 16. That is equal to 0.25. That is equal to 0.25. That means it implies that it indicates bank R will get only 0.25 share in bank P, 0.25 share in bank P for every one share. For every one share held in bank R. We are getting only 0.25. The shareholders of bank R earlier they are holding one share. The shareholders of bank R earlier they are holding one share. Now they are getting only 0.25% because their capital adequacy ratio is less. Therefore, they are getting only less number of shares. They are getting only less number of shares, 0.25 shares. 0.25 shares. So similarly, next point is what? So this is if you take out this parameter. If you take capital adequacy ratio, you will get 0.25 shares. Okay. Based on capital adequacy ratio, number of shares is 0.25. Okay. Next point. What is the next parameter? Market price. Okay. Market price is directly related to the value of the company. Okay. A company which is having same concept. Same will repeat it. So will repeat it same. A company which is having a high market price, which is having high market price per share will get more shares. And similarly, a company which is having and a company which is having which is having which is having a low market price per share will get less shares, will get less shares, will get less shares. So in the given case, bank R is having, okay, in the given case, bank R is having, in the given case, bank R is having less market price per share, less market price per share. Therefore, they will get, it should get less number of shares in bank P. That will be 8 divided by 120. 8 divided by 128. 8 divided by 128. 8 divided by 128. That will be 6.25%. That will be 6.25%. 6.25% means 0.0625. 0.0625. Okay, 0.62. It indicates bank R will get only 0.0625, 6.25% shares in bank P for every one share held in bank R. This is what the point. Next, book value per share, book market price, book value per share, book value per share. So we have to get that. So market, like market price, book value per share. Book value is also directly related to the value of the company. Book value is directly related to the value of the company. So a company which has more book value per share, BPS, book value per share, book value per share will get more number of shares, and low book value per share will get less number of shares. Bank R is having a less book value per share. Bank R is having less book value per share. Therefore, it should get less number of shares. What is the book value? 15. This is 120. 15 divided by 120. 15 divided by 120. This is 12.5%. 12.5% means 0.125. 0.125. It indicates bank R will get only 0.125 share in bank P for every share held in bank R. So therefore, if you apply this point, so but this is not the point. But this is gross NPA. The indirect gross NPA is inversely related to the value of the company. Gross NPA is inversely related to the value of the company. Okay, gross NPA. NPA is inversely related to value of the company. NPA is inversely related to the value of the company. A company which is having high NPA, a company which is having high NPA will get less shares, will get less shares, will get less shares. And similarly, a company which is having low NPA, which is having low NPA, which is having low NPA will get more shares. Which is having low NPA will get more shares. In the given case, bank R is having more NPA. Bank R is having more NPA. Bank R is having more NPA. NPA is inversely related to the value of the company. Therefore, a company which is having high NPA will get less shares. A company which is having low NPA will get more shares. In the given case, bank R is having more NPA. Therefore, it should get less number of shares in bank P. That is how much? 40% divided by 5%. 40% divided by 5%. So it should not get 40% divided by 5, should be 5 divided by 40. 5 divided by 40, not 40 divided by 5. If you get 40 divided by, it will become 8. It will become 8. Blunder mistake. So therefore, less number of shares. So 5 divided by 40, same 0.125. 5 divided 1 by 8. Okay, 1 by 8, 0.125. 5 divided by 40, 0.125. The same thing. This is what the point. Okay, therefore, if you apply here 40 by 8, if you apply here 40 by 5, it implies that bank R will get 8 shares in bank P. Wrong. 40 by 5 is equal to 8. That means you are giving more number of shares. Conceptually blunder mistake. Conceptually blunder mistake, giving more shares to a company having high NPA is conceptually wrong. Okay, if by mistake, if mechanically we apply 40 by 5, it will get it will result in 8 shares. It will result in 8 shares. Okay, for every one share in bank R, giving the 8 shares in bank P is conceptually wrong. Is conceptually wrong. Okay, it is nothing but rewarding a company. It is nothing but rewarding a company with more bad debts, which is illogical. It is illogical. That is not correct. Okay, therefore, the only point I have to reverse it. If you don't know which is positive and which is negative to the value of the company, if you blindly apply the formulas, you are gone. If you don't know which is positive and which is negative to the company, if you blindly apply, you are gone. Therefore, you should be careful. So it is positive factor, directly related. Therefore, less means less shares. It is inversely related. Therefore, more means less shares. More gross NPA means less number of shares. More gross NPA means less number of shares. Okay, so that is what the point. Okay, right. More number of shares is less. So different basis, different number of shares. Different basis, different number of shares. They have given weights also. To that you have to apply the weights. To that you have to apply the weights. So you cannot. It is not advisable to rely on only one parameter: capital adequacy ratio, market price, book value per share, gross NPA. Rather than relying on any one of these parameter, they are considering all the parameters. Look at this. If you consider only capital adequacy ratio, Bancor will get 0.256. If you consider only market price, Bancor will get 0.0625 shares. If you consider only book value, Bancor will get 0.125 shares. If you consider only NPA, Bancor will get 0.125 shares. Rather than considering any one parameter, they are taking all the parameters and the weighted average of all the parameters. That's it. Nothing more than that. This is the number of shares. This is the number of shares on an individual basis. For this parameter, this is the number of shares. Okay. So similarly, for this parameter, this is the number of shares. For this parameter, that is the number of shares. For this parameter, this is the number of shares. So rather than taking individually, what they are taking is that they are doing the weighted average. That's it. They are doing the weighted average of these various shares. They are doing the weighted average of these various shares. They are doing the weighted average of this various shares. This is the weights. This is the weights. This is the weights. So gross NPA, Bancor, Bank P, number of shares. We can take a proportion of percentage of shares. We can percentage of shares. We can take percentage of shares, and we can take weighted. If you take weight here, okay. If you take weights here, okay, weighted shares, weighted number of shares, weighted percentage of shares, weighted percentage of shares, weighted percentage of shares, weighted percentage of shares. That means whatever the existing shares are there in bank, or whatever the existing shares are there in bank, or out of that they will get only 12.5%, 12.5% of the number of shares in Bank P. This is the indication. So this is the individual parameter. So rather than taking individual values, rather than taking any one of these values, they are taking weighted average of these values, so that we are giving importance to all these parameters. Okay, if you do weighted average, we are giving importance to all these parameters. It will come by 12.5%. What is the 12.5%? 12.5%. Shareholders of bank or will get only 12.5% of their 12.5% of their shares in 12.5% of number of shares in the Bank P. That means number of shares in Bank P, to be given to shareholders of bank R, Okay, this is what we are going to calculate now. Number of shares in bank R, number of shares in Bank P to be given to shareholders of bank R is equal to number of shares in Bank P to be given to shareholders of bank R is equal to number of existing shares in bank R, bank R into 12.5%, exchange ratio, into exchange percentage or exchange ratio, that is equal to so how many shares are there? Existing shares in bank or existing shares, we have 14 lakh shares. Existing shares in bank or we have 14 lakh shares. Into 14 lakh shares into 12.5%, that is equal to 14 lakh shares into 12.5. How much will get ma? 12.5 into 14 lakh shares. That will be 1.75 lakh shares is equal to 1.75 lakh shares. Number 1.75 lakhs shares. Okay, this is the answer. This is our main answer. This is the swap ratio. They are asking two answers. They're asking two answers. This is one answer and this is another answer. They're asking swap ratio and also the number of shares. Okay, swap ratio is this one and number of shares is this one. Okay, swap ratio is this one and number of shares is this one. Swap ratio is this one and number of shares is this one. Okay, so the first point is what we have to calculate. First point we have to calculate is swap ratio, computation of swap ratio. Look at the question. A, it is A, computation of swap ratio. Computation of swap ratio. Okay, A, swap ratio. This is A swap ratio, particular parameter or particulars. You can say particulars or parameters. You can say particulars or parameters. You can say particulars or parameters. This is the particulars or parameters. Next. Okay, it is a particulars or parameters. Okay, this is a swap ratio. We have to calculate. So this is based on individual basis. So this is based on gross NPA. This is based on capital asset ratio. This is based on market price. This is based on book value. Rather than taking any one of these values, it's better we take weighted average this value so that we are giving importance to all the values. Okay, right. This is what the point. Next, this is number of shares. Number of shares. Second point. B. Number of shares. It will be number of shares. So B will be number of shares. It will be B, number of shares. Swap ratio and B will be number of shares. What is the question? Swap ratio and number of shares to be issued. Number of shares to be issued. Number of shares to be issued by bank P to bank R. Bank P to bank R. Number of shares to be issued by bank P to bank R. Okay, that is what the point. Number of shares to be issued by bank P to bank R. This is the answer. Okay, this is the answer, final answer. You can take it. Okay, number of shares in bank R, bank P to be given to shareholders of bank R is equal to number of existing shares in bank R into exchange ratio or swap ratio. You can also call it as a swap ratio so that the terminology will be consistent for you. Above we are using swap ratio. Popularly we are calling it as an exchange ratio. Why to confuse you? Swap ratio and exchange ratio are one and the same. Swap ratio and exchange ratio are one and the same. Swap ratio and exchange ratio are one and the same. Okay, this is what the point. 14 lakhs existing shares into 12.5 swap ratio 1.75 lakh shares. Okay, this is the second thing. So before going to the further answers, so you can pause the recording and copy the answer. Two answers completed: swap ratio and number of shares, book value. Swap ratio, number of shares, book value. Two answers. You can pause the recording and complete the answer. You can pause the recording and complete the answer. Copy the answer. Or you can take photo in the mobile. If you are watching through laptop, you can take photo in the mobile. Thereafter, you can copy the answer. Okay. Next, this is what the point. Next, you can take this also as a screenshot. I'll give this also as a screenshot so that you can so that you will get it. So the description for the above table. This you need not write in the exam. For your understanding. Okay, this is for your understanding. Okay, this is for your understanding. Okay, so the table, whatever the swap ratio we have calculated for the swap ratio, this is the explanation. Whatever we have calculated the swap ratio, for the swap ratio, it is the explanation. Okay, you can copy this explanation also. For your notes, for your understanding of the concept, you don't need to write this in the exam. It is the logic behind calculation. It is the logic behind our calculation. Okay, it is the logic behind our calculation. This is the 1 and 2. Next concept, next two are very easy. Prepare balance sheet after merger. Balance sheet after merger is just clubbing the values. That's it. Balance sheet after merger means just clubbing all the values. Okay. Balance sheet after merger means just clubbing all the values. Balance sheet after merger means just clubbing all the values. Balance sheet after merger means just clubbing all the values. Okay, balance sheet after merger means just clubbing all the values. Okay, balance sheet after values means just clubbing all the values. Okay, right. Next, so what are the parameters we have? What are the balance sheet values we have? Okay, so bank or bank P. So we have to take this thing, paid up share capital. First will be paid up share capital, paid up share capital, paid up share capital, paid up share capital, paid up share capital. Okay, paid up share capital, paid up share capital. How much we have to take? How much we have to take paid up share capital? So existing 500 lakhs, existing 500 lakhs, 500 lakhs, 500 lakhs plus number of shares. How much? Number of shares we have issued to 500 lakhs existing capital plus how many number of shares we have issued? 1.75 lakh shares we have issued to R Limited. 1.75 lakh shares we have issued to Bancor into face value 10, into face value rupees 10 face value, into rupees 10 face value. Okay, rupees 10 face value. That means how much you'll get? 500 plus 500 plus 1.75 into 10. 500 plus 1.75 into 10. Okay, that is what the point. 517.5. 517.5. This is the existing shares of Bancor. 500 lakhs is the existing shares of Bank P. Okay, existing shares of Bank P. Existing shares of Bank P. New shares issued to Bancor. New shares issued to Bancor. New shares issued to Bancor. This is the total existing shares of Bank P. That is the new shares issued to Bancor. Total 517.5. Okay, right. That is what the point. Next, if you club this thing, next deposit. We should not club these two. We should not club the reserves. We should not take the reserves. Instead of reserves, we'll take one more thing. I'll show you. So we have to take only the. Don't take this figure when you are clubbing. When we are clubbing, don't club directly with this. Don't club directly with this. Remaining things we can club. Remaining things we can club. Remaining things we can club, but not the first two. That is the most important point we need to learn. Remaining things we can club. Remaining things we can blindly club, but not the first two aspects. Whenever you are consolidating, remaining except share capital and reserves, remaining we can consolidate. Share capital and reserves, separate treatment. This is what is happening. Paid up share capital. Next, reserves of existing reserves of Bancor, existing reserves of Bancor, existing reserves of Bank P. What is the existing reserves of Bank P? Only I have to take Bank P, 5,500. 5,500. Okay, existing reserves of Bank P, 5,500. Okay, right. Next, deposits. We can club. Deposits we can club. What is the total deposits? 4,000 plus 40,000. 44,000. Okay, deposits 44,000. 4,000 plus 44,000. Okay, 4,000 plus 40,000. Just clubbing the deposits. Next, other liabilities. Other liabilities also we can club, not an issue. Other liabilities also we can club. What is the other liabilities here? 890. 890 plus 2,500. 890 plus 2,500. 890 plus 2,500. 3,390. 3,390. That's it. With this, the balance sheet liability side is completed. Balance sheet liability side is completed. Balance sheet liability side is completed. Okay, 53,047. Next, asset side. Total liabilities. Total liabilities. Total liabilities. A. Okay, total liabilities A. Total liabilities A. Okay, next, asset side. So asset side also I'll leave one point here. Why? I'll tell you why I am leaving one line. I'll tell you. Here also I left one line deliberately. I'll tell you why I have left this line. Okay, next, asset side. Club every assets. Cash in hand. Cash in hand. Okay, cash in hand and with RBI. Cash in hand and with RBI. Cash in hand and with RBI. How much it is? Just club both two. Just club those two. Cash in hand and with RBI. How much it is? 4,200. We have to write it. Deliberately we have to write it. 400 mark. 400 plus 2,500. 400 plus 2,500. 400 plus 2,500. It will be 2,900. 400 plus 2,500. It will be 2,900. Cash in hand and with RBI. Next, a balance with other banks. Balance with other banks. Balance with other banks. Balance with other banks, rupees 0 plus 2,000. it will be 2000 only. Balance with other banks 2000 only. Balance with other banks 2000 only. Next, investments. Investments. So how much is the investments? Investment sum up like 1100 plus total clubbing 1100 plus 15,000. 15,000. That is 16,100. 16,100. Okay, investments. Next, advances. Advances. So what is the advances here? What is the advances here? What is the advances here? 3,500 plus 3,500 plus 3,500 plus 3,500 plus 27,000. 27,000. 3,500. 3,500 plus 27,000. 27,000. 30,500. 30,500. Next, other assets. Next, other assets. Next, other assets. What is the other assets? 100 plus 2,100. Just 2,000. 2,000. Just 2,000. 2,000. That will 100 plus 2,000. 100 plus 2,000. 2,100. 2,100. Okay. I'll take total liabilities and total assets. Total assets, total liabilities, total assets. Total, okay, liabilities, total assets. Total assets. This will be total assets. Okay, this will be total assets. Look at this, 53,600. Now, why I left these two lines? Why I left these two lines? This I'll fill so that you'll get the clarity. Okay, why I left these two, right? So always when you are clubbing the balance sheets, you do this. After reserves, leave one line, and in the assets, leave first line. Why, sir, it is? So if the asset side is less, you have to fill it as a goodwill. That's it. If the liability side is less, you have to fill it as a capital reserve. Nothing more than that. Nothing more than that. You can simply do it. Okay. So if the asset side is less, then I have to fill this column. If the so look at this here, 53,600. Asset side is more. It is 53,400, 407 only. That means liability side is less. Therefore, I have to match it. Therefore, capital reserves will come. If the reverse is the situation, then goodwill will come. That is the simple as that. That is the reason after reserves, leave one line. Here in the asset side, first line leave it. That will come as a goodwill. That will come as a goodwill. Okay. Whenever you are consolidating, do this. Whenever you are consolidating, do this. Okay. After reserves, leave one line. If at all the asset side is less, just take out this point. Just take out this now. Okay. 53,600 minus whatever these values are there. This one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay. You will get 192.5. You will get 192.5. Now 53,600 is balancing, matching. This is called as capital reserve. I can say capital reserve balancing figure. I can say capital reserve balancing figure. That is what the point. That is the reason I asked you to put the empty line. If it is a reverse, you can put as a goodwill. That's it. If the asset side in this given case, asset side is more and liability side is less. Therefore, we are getting capital reserve. If it is the reverse situation, asset side is less, liability side is more. If it is the reverse situation, goodwill will come. Goodwill will come. Okay. Therefore, after reserves, leave one line, and in the asset side, leave the first line. And the asset side, leave the first line. Okay. This is the liabilities. This is the liabilities, and this is the amount in lakhs. This is the amount. This is the amount in lakhs. Okay. This is the amount in lakhs. This is assets. This is assets and amount in lakhs. Assets and amount in lakhs. This is the balance sheet after merger. This is the balance sheet after merger. Okay. You can write this point. Balance sheet after merger. Balance sheet of what? Balance sheet of P Limited after merger. Bank P after merger. What is our question? Balance sheet after merger. Balance sheet of Bank P after merger. Okay. Balance sheet after merger. Balance sheet after merger. C point, right? We should have to take C point. Balance sheet after merger. Balance sheet after merger. Balance sheet after merger. 53,600. This is the capital reserve. This is one way of doing it. This is one way of doing it. Another way of arriving at the capital reserve is this point. Another way of arriving at the capital reserve is this point. Okay. Right. Net worth of bank or net worth of bank or that is amalgamating company. Right. Net worth of bank or amalgamating company. Okay. Right. So consideration given by bank P to bank or Bank P to Bank R. That is amalgamated to amalgamated company, amalgamated company to amalgamating company. Okay. So what is the consideration given? Consideration given is this point 175, 17.5 lakhs rupees, rupees lakhs. Okay. Rupees lakhs, rupees lakhs. Okay. Consider 17 point. How I got this 17.5? How I got this 17.5? How I got this 17.5? Okay. How I got this 17.5? 1.75 lakhs shares issued. 1.75 lakhs shares issued by Bank P into face value of rupees 10 per share. Into face value of rupees 10 per share. Into face value of rupees 10 per share. Base value of rupees 10 per share. That is equal to 17.5 lakhs. 1.75 into 10 is equal to 17.5 lakhs. Next, what is the net worth of Bank R? What is the net worth of Bank R? So rupees rupees 140 capital plus rupees 140 capital plus rupees 70 reserves. Rupees 70 reserves. Rupees 70 reserves. Rupees 140 capital. Rupees 70 reserves. Rupees 70 reserves. 210. Rupees 70 reserves. So how much it is? 210. 210. 140 plus 140 plus 17.5, 210. 140 plus 70. Sorry. 70, 210. I think we have to write it here. Okay. Next, this point, capital reserve or goodwill. Capital reserve oblique goodwill. Less than in bracket oblique or you will get goodwill. If it is a negative figure, it is a goodwill mark. If it is a negative figure, it is a goodwill. If it is a positive figure, it is a capital reserve. If it is a positive figure, it is a capital reserve. Okay, this is what the point. If it is a positive figure, it is a goodwill. Okay, right. This is what the point mark, goodwill and capital reserve. Okay, right. So 210 and 17.5. This is the capital. The same 192.5. This is a conceptual way. This above balance sheet, you can take it without logic, without doing working note also. Balancing figure, we can take it capital reserve. So if you want to calculation, this is what the calculation 19.5. It is very simple, man. No confusion. It is very simple. Goodwill or capital reserve is nothing but profit. That's it. Profit to the company. What we get inflow is sales and what we pay is cost. Okay. So I can say simple logic, I can say receipts minus payments is equal to cash flows. I can say receipts minus payments is equal to profit. Receipts minus payments is equal to profits. Or also you can also say as inflow minus outflows is equal to profit. That's it. Inflow minus outflow is equal to profits. Profits, if it is a loss, it is a negative loss. Okay, inflow minus outflow, if it is a positive, profit. If it is a negative, loss. As simple as that. Inflow minus outflow, if you get a profit, if you get positive, it is a profit. If you get negative, it is a loss. Inflow minus outflow, if you get positive, it is a profit. If you get negative, it is a loss. That much you know. That much everybody knows. But here, to whom we are calculating inflows? Inflows and outflows to the amalgamated company. Inflows or outflows we have to calculate for the amal. In our case, it is Bank P. In our case, it is Bank P. Amalgamated company. In our case, it is Bank P. Okay, right. In our case, it is Bank P. So Bank P to Bank R. So I am preparing the balance sheet of Bank P. So what is inflow to the Bank P? Is net worth of Bank R. Because Bank R is getting merged with Bank P. Therefore, Bank R is getting total. Net worth. That is 210 is the inflow. 210 is the inflow. And in return, what the Bank P is giving to Bank R? 17.5 lakh shares. 1.75 lakhs shares. 1.75 lakhs shares. Bank P is giving to Bank R. That will be outflow will be 17.5. So this is called as a profit. Sales cost. This is called as a profit. Profit 192.5. Profit, that's why it is coming on the credit side. Liability side of the balance sheet. The profits means profit comes on the liability side of the balance sheet. If it is a negative figure, it comes on the asset side, goodwill, as simple as that. Okay, so this is the logic behind capital reserve and goodwill. Okay, simple logic, no complication, nothing. Inflows minus outflows, if it is a positive, profits. Inflows minus outflows, if it is a negative, losses. What is inflows to him and what is outflows to him? From whose point of view we are calculating inflows and outflows is the important point. From whose point of view we are calculating the inflows and outflows? We are calculating the inflows and outflows from the point of view of the amalgamated company. We are calculating the inflows and outflows from the point of view of the amalgamated company. That is in our case, Bank P. We are calculating from the Bank P's perspective. We are calculating from the Bank P's perspective. Therefore, from the Bank P perspective, inflow is 210. What is the net worth received from Bank R to Bank P? Because Bank R is getting merged with Bank P. Bank R is getting merged with Bank P. Therefore, we are receiving that much. And what we are giving is only 17.5 lakhs. What we are giving is only 17.5 lakhs. Okay. Therefore, the remaining is our profit. The remaining is our profit. That is what this 19.5. Or mechanically, you can take it as a balancing figure. Or mechanically, you can take it as a balancing figure. Okay. Now you can pause the recording and copy the answer. You can pause the recording and copy the answer. This is C point. I think earlier already I've written a B point, A and B. I think earlier already I've written A and B. Now copy this. Now copy this C answer. Copy the C answer. Balance sheet after merger. Balance sheet after merger. This is the capital reserve. Either you can calculate this way or you can calculate that as a balance sheet. Balance sheet after merger. Balance sheet after merger. Okay, right. So we have one more answer. We have one more answer. Last answer. Last answer. Calculate CAR, capital assets ratio, and gross NPA percentage of Bank P after merger. What is the capital to assets ratio? What is the capital to assets ratio? Okay, what is the capital to assets ratio? So first we have to take our present capital. First we have to take our present capital, capital to assets ratio, capital to assets ratio before merger. Before merger. Okay, before merger, capital to assets ratio. Okay, right. Before merger, capital to assets ratio, Bank P, sorry, Bank R, Bank P. Bank or Bank P. Bank or Bank P. Okay, right. So what is the capital to risk ratio? What is the ratios they have given before merger? Before merger, we have capital to risk ratio, assets ratio of 4%. Capital assets, capital adequacy ratio of 4%. Or capital to risk weighted assets of 4%. What is the capital? Before that, 210 lakhs is the capital. 210 lakhs is the capital. Okay, 210 lakhs is the net worth. Net worth or capital, net worth. So you can take net worth. So because the reserves is also treated as a part of the capital, reserves also treated as a part of the capital. If you take 210, if you take 210 here, and next it is 6,000, and it is 6,000 net worth. Next, CR, existing CR, how much is the CR? 4% and 16%. Capital to risk ratio of 4% and 16%. 4% and 16%. Okay. Now it will give you capital risk assets, risk weighted assets. Risk weighted assets. Risk weighted assets. If you multiply both, you will get risk weighted assets. 210 into 4. Risk weighted assets you will get. If you multiply those, you will get to risk weighted assets. Total this point 960. 960 risk weighted assets plus 8.4. Total 960.8. Total 960.8. Then what is the net worth after merger? Okay, this is the 960.8. Okay, this is before merger. This is before merger. This is before merger. This is before merger. Okay, this is before merger. Before merger, we have two things. Before merger, we have two things. Before merger, we have two banks. Before merger, we have two banks. After merger, we'll have only one bank. After merger, we'll have only one bank. Okay. After merger, we have only one bank. After merger, we have only one bank. Okay. What is the Bank P only? What is the net worth of Bank P now? Net worth of Bank P is these three results we have to take. 5.17 paid up share capital, existing reserves plus 192.25. Same you will get 6,210. After merger. After merger. Okay. After merger consolidated. After merger consolidated. Okay. So after merger consolidated figure is 6,210. Now you have to take it as a balancing figure. 968 divided by 610. 968 divided by 610. 15.594. No, it's the wrong answer. Somewhere we are missing. Somewhere we are missing. capital reserve, if you remove it, capital reserve, if you remove it, no, somewhere we are missing. I'll just check up the IC answers where we are missing. It was 14.53%. IC answer says 14.53%. We have to look into that, where how they got 14.53%. 4% and 16%. 210 lakhs into 4%. 210 lakhs into 4%. Okay. That is the reverse I have taken. Sorry. Risk weighted assets. So capital to risk. First we have to write down this formula. First we have to write down this formula. I'll show you. Capital to risk assets ratio, CAR, capital to risk assets ratio, capital to risk assets ratio, capital to risk assets ratio is equal to capital to risk assets ratio. Whenever we are seeing this thing, this will be numerator, this will be numerator, and this will be denominator. This will be denominator. Any ratios, the words before, the words prefix to 2 is numerator. The words after to 2 will be denominator. This is the blind logic. Whenever you are using any ratio, the word before use will be in the numerator, before 2 will be in the numerator, the word after 2 will be the denominator. The word before 2 will be the numerator, the word after 2 will be the denominator. Therefore, capital or net worth. Capital here means net worth. Net worth. Okay, divided by risk assets, divided by risk weighted assets, divided by risk weighted assets, divided by risk weighted assets. Now what we are having is that this is 4%. So now if I want risk weighted assets, if I want risk weighted assets, then what should I do? I have to bring it here. Net worth will be there like that only, and this will be divided by CAR will go there. That is the point. CR will go there. Therefore, risk-weighted assets is equal to the above 2. 210 divided by 4%. I have multiplied it. That is the wrong. That's it. That is the wrong calculation. I have multiplied it. Okay, I have multiplied it. That is the mistake I have done. The mistake I have done is multiplying it. Okay, 42,750. 42,750 is the total risk-weighted assets. Compare this 42,750 is the total risk-weighted assets. And 6,300. Now how will you calculate the formula? Now we'll calculate this. So risk weighted assets, how we calculated risk weighted assets? Net worth divided by CR. How we got the risk weighted assets? Net worth divided by CR. Look at this formula, look at this calculation. CR is equal to net worth divided by risk weighted assets. Therefore, risk weighted assets is equal to net worth divided by CR. CAR is equal to net worth divided by risk weighted assets. Therefore, risk weighted assets is equal to net worth divided by CR. This formula we'll use before merger. Before merger, we'll use this formula. Before merger, we'll this formula. After merger, we'll use this formula. After merger, we'll use this formula. Because after merger, we have total net worth and we have total risk weighted assets. We have total net worth and total risk weighted assets. After merger, we have. So after merger, we have total net worth and we have total risk weighted assets. This is what the point, 14.53. Okay, this is what the point, 15% or 14.53. This is what the point. Okay, so here how I got this CAR, capital to risk assets ratio. This will be net worth divided by risk weighted assets. Net worth divided by risk weighted assets. Net worth divided by risk weighted assets. Risk weighted assets. Risk weighted assets. This is what the point. So how I got this? Net worth divided by risk weighted assets. Net worth divided by risk weighted assets. I got this 5,250 and 37,500. This is net worth. This is net worth divided by CR. Net worth divided by CR. Okay, 5,250, 37,500. I got it. Next, how I got this 14.53? How I got this 14.53? This 14.53 I got in the reverse way. This 14.53 I got in the reverse way. Net worth divided by risk weighted assets. How I got this 14.3? Net worth divided by risk weighted assets. We got it. Okay, net worth divided by risk weighted assets. Net worth divided by risk weighted assets. This is total. This is sum total. Okay, this is also sum total. Okay, this is also sum total. This is what is different. Okay, first I have calculated in this way. Look at this. So first I have calculated in this way. Then I have gone through this way. Then I have gone through this way, and I came up here. This is what the transaction flows. Okay, first 210 to 5,250, next 37,500. So first I have to proceed like this. First I have to proceed like this. First I have to proceed like this. Thereafter I have to proceed in this way. Thereafter I have to proceed in this way, and again top to bottom in between will catch up. In between will catch up. This is called as this 14.53. Okay, this is called as that 14.53. How we have approached 210 divided by 4, 5,250. Similarly, 210 plus 6,000, 6,210, 5,250 plus 37,500, 42,750. In between that, you are got it. Okay, that we got it as a balancing figure. Capital assets ratio is called as a balancing figure. This is our final answer. This is our final answer. Capital assets ratio of capital to risk assets ratio after merger. Capital to risk assets ratio after merger. Okay, this is before merger, after merger. Capital to risk assets ratio after merger. Okay, this is before merger and this is after merger. This is after merger. After merger. This is after merger. Okay, you can pause the recording and copy this answer. I'll give you for you what is the point D pointer. We're calculating D point. What is our answer? D pointer. Look at the question. Look at the question. What they're asking. What they're asking is the CAR. CAR after merger. CAR after merger. CAR after merger. CAR after merger. Okay. CAR after merger. CAR after merger. Okay. CAR after merger. This is what we have taken. This is what we have taken. CAR after merger. CAR after merger. Bank R, Bank P total net worth, CAR risk weighted assets. These are the points. Okay. Right. So before merger and after merger. Before merger and after merger. Okay. Okay, you can pause the recording and copy the answer. You can pause the recording and copy the answer. I'll erase it. So otherwise you'll confuse these things. It will be clumsy. It appears to be clumsy. CAR after merger. Capital to risk assets ratio after merger. Capital to risk assets ratio after merger. So what is the CR formula? The same thing. CR will be net worth divided by risk weighted assets. Net worth divided by risk weighted assets. This is given in the question. This is given and this is given. This is given and this is given. Okay. This is given and this is given. This only we have computed. This is the total. Okay. Right. You can pause the recording and copy the answer. You can pause the recording and copy the answer. Next, gross NPA percentage. Gross NPA. So NPA is calculated on the advances. NPA is calculated on the advances. So same point we have to calculate. We'll take from gross NPA before merger, after merger. Okay. We'll take NPA. Okay, NPA after merger, NPA after merger, NPA after merger, NPA after merger, NPA after merger. So what is the advances? If our NPA is calculated on the advances, loans, NPA is calculated on the advances. What is the advances? Loans 3,500. And what is this advances? 27,000. This advance is 27,000. This advance is 27,000. Okay, 27,000. The total will be this point. Okay, what is the NPA percentage? Gross NPA percentage. NPA percentage. What is the NPA percentage? Given NPA percentage, we already have that. Given NPA percentage, 40% and 40% and 5%. 40% and 5%. 40% and 5%. So here non-performing assets. Non-performing assets is equal to advances into NPA percentage. Advances into NPA percentage. This will be into 3,500 into 40%. Here divided by risk weighted assets. Risk weighted assets is equal to net worth divided by CR. Risk weighted assets is equal to net worth divided by CR. Net worth divided by CR. Here it is divided by. Here it is multiplication. Here it is multiplication. Okay, right. Advances into NPA. Okay, this is 14,000 and this also with 13,500. Total will be 2,750. Total will be 2,750. 2,750. And what is the NPA percentage after that? After that, NPA percentage is what? Reverse. NPA divided by advances. NPA divided by advances. NPA divided by advances. Okay. NPA divided by advances. Balancing figure. NPA divided by advances. NPA divided by advances. 9.02%. That's it. So these are the two important points. More we have to focus on this. That the two important points we have to focus. Okay, CAR after merger and NPA after merger. You can pause the recording and copy the answer. You can pause the recording and copy the answer. Particulars. Okay. Particulars. Particulars before merger, after merger. Particulars before merger, after merger. Particulars before merger and after merger. 30,500. Okay, this is what the point means. CAR after merger and NPA after merger. CAR after merger and NPA after merger. You can pause the recording and copy the answer. CAR after merger and NPA after merger. Okay. So once again, I'll give from the very beginning. What are the notes we have to copy? So first take out this. Swap ratio. This is the first answer we have to consider. This is the first answer we have to consider, swap ratio. This is the first answer we have to consider, swap ratio. This is the answer for the working note. First, you have to pause the recording and copy the answer. If at all you have not copied earlier, now you can pause and copy it. If at all you have not copied earlier, now you can pause and copy it. Swap ratio and number of shares. Two answers will be there. Swap ratio and number of shares. Two answers will be there. Okay. Next, balance sheet after merger. C answer. Balance sheet after merger. Next, you can copy this. Balance sheet after merger. C answer, balance sheet after merger. This you can copy, balance sheet after merger. Okay. Next you can copy this answer. D. CAR after merger, NPA after merger. CAR after merger, NPA after merger. Okay. That's it.